Hello and welcome to the Kingdom Come podcast, an OPCC original. I am Tyler Savatinaya, and we are happy to have you here. If at any point throughout this podcast that you feel called to speak to someone or need to reach out and feel in need of a community, we just ask that you reach out to one of our pastors here, is Grant. Just email him. It's grant@overlandpark.cc, and we'd be happy to answer questions or get you connected in any way that we can. And today, we are now joined by another member here at Overland Park Community Church, Arthur Martins. Thank you for joining us, Arthur.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. We have not been fortunate enough to communicate too effectively now with the multiple different times here or services here. It's getting very difficult for some of us who've been here since 2018 to be able to reach everyone because it's just growing so quickly, especially post-COVID. But I'm glad that you're an individual who keeps getting brought up by some of the other missions that we do around here, and glad to finally have you here and learn a little bit about you coming to America and how you found the Lord. And for those of you that don't know, Arthur is from Brazil.
Yes, that's right.
Where at in Brazil are you from?
I was born back in 1986 in the state of Rondônia. It's north of Brazil. And when I was 4 years old, my parents and myself and my sister, we've moved to the southeast, to the São Paulo state.
Okay.
And I was living there until middle 2022 when I get here.
Okay, so you've been here in the U.S. for quite a while then.
Yes, close to 2 years right now. Yeah.
Oh, you've been in Olathe for 2 years or in the U.S. for 2 years?
The both, yeah. Okay. I've moved to here late May 2022.
Oh, okay.
And I've been here since.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And man, what brought you all the way to the middle of Kansas?
Yeah, so I work for a company that has multiple branches, multiple facilities, and one of these facilities is located close by here. It's about 25 miles north. Mm. And so this is why I moved here, due to work. So I was transferred. So myself and my family, we got moved last 2022.
Gotcha. Yeah. What was the transition like for you and your family? I know you've got 2 kids, right?
Yes, correct. Laura, she's 7. Daniel, he's 5.
Okay. So what was that like to kind of pick everything up and move? There's going to be the massive cultural difference and then the language barriers, but also having to, move your wife and your kids and have them, which I'm sure they probably knew English from school, right? Yeah.
So due to my daily duties at workplace, mm-hmm. Since I work for a American company, it's very often we get exposed to the language, to English, like meetings, writing or reading reports, this kind of things. And for my wife and kids, they were in a different spot at that time, but it's amazing how kids learn so fast. So I do remember when we did start here, my 2 kids, they barely or they cannot speak very well, but about 6 months after. We could hear she speaking, talking to her friends, talking to the kids at here at the church during the week over week in our discipleship groups. We kind of see her improving her vocabulary, improving her skills on this language as well. And my little son, he's going with the flow as well, so his vocabulary is very good, and he's now starting connecting the dots and improving the way he speaks and making more bigger, longer phrases and be able to back and forth on a normal, a normal discussion. My wife, she's doing a pretty good job as well. So since we established here in Overland Park, about 4 months after, she started going to English courses, and she's doing this since. So month over month, she's getting better.
Yeah. So it seems like the language barrier hasn't really been an overall issue.
Yeah. So yes and no, because I have to say that being exposed on a weekly basis, in distant, is different than to be 100% here. So being distant, we kind to see formal words, a formal language, or we go into meetings or go into conversations that we know the subject prior. So we kind of figure out before how it looks like and how to navigate those questions, those topics. In a normal life, it's way different because we have to deal with different accents, different pitches, tones, vocabulary. Like a formal English is one, like a daily English is another one. So it's a kind of learning curve that I'm enjoying. So no matter what, I'm enjoying this opportunity, this experience as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I try to do well in keeping up with other cultures around. And so Brazil is a large country, and it has a lot of influence in, I think, a lot of daily life. Even probably most people don't see it, but if you're a big soccer fan, you're going to catch that. And then a lot of the culture that comes out of there, that comes with the music, the dancing, and the food. Culturally and shifting here now to America, and I also know it's a big Catholic country. It's Catholicism is very large down there. So what are some of the cultural challenges that you faced when coming up here, and even religiously?
So culturally speaking, I found good signs, and I really like it the way the American people behave in terms of they are pretty straightforward. They go direct to the point. So if something has to be said, gonna be said. And sometimes Brazilian, including myself, it's kind of going, shifting the gears a little bit, trying to go slowly, to not go straight and eventually hurt the feelings. So it is what it is. If something needs to be said, needs to be shared, why not? So this part of the American culture I most like, because I know, like, our feelings, our relationships, and etc. are like in the periphery. But if we are talking about something, if that particular point gonna be quoted, okay, that's the thing. Sometimes we kind of choose to skip or to not touch the particular points to not hurt people's feeling. Maybe this is my point of view, speaking about some cultural differences, but uplifting this characteristic here. About religiously, the countries are similar, like you said. Yes, Brazilian is a country that the majority of people are Christian, but we can divide between Catholic and Protestant. Here, I'm not in depth yet, but I kind to see the opposite, like the flip side. I constantly see other Protestant than the Catholic. Yes, I know Yes, I get along with other Catholic friends here, but it seems few than there. Yeah.
What are maybe some of the differences outside of just the surface level of there's more. It seems to be more Catholic back home than here.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any difficulties in transitioning?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's going to be the language barrier, but was there any difficulties in just the way that you and your family practice or different ways of thinking?
Yeah. So when we started here, it looks like we get back to the phase zero, phase one. So we know for a fact that time we knew for a fact that time that we were enjoying that moment, that experience, but yeah, it was a little bit hard because some we have to starting all over again, like going to the like daily things like going to the bank, opening a checking account, then going to the public services asking for a document, or going to the DMV and now starting to get the driver's license. This kind of uh, basics document we had to figure out. So it was hard to us to understand at the beginning that this type of things takes time. At the beginning, we thought that would be like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we would be done. Actually, it gets more time, like months. But now we see that this is normal. It's just the way it is. So at the beginning, we were very um, experiencing a lot of anxiety, but now we know that was good. So we kind of understand now that it's some simple things just take time, just takes time. So
That's good.
So I have to mention that all the people that I get connected since the day zero, they were such a blessed for us, even though at the work or at our neighbor, at the church. So we felt a lot of support. We faced a lot of support in a way that I couldn't believe as well. So praise the Lord, the Lord about that, because without this kind of support would be harder for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, 100%. Like you said, with even like having the anxiety,
Yeah.
without having the Lord or even those individual friendships that you helped cultivate, and probably easily the Lord helped cultivate in helping relieve some of that anxiety of being in an unfamiliar place and territory.
Yeah. That's the thing for sure. And yeah, we are feeling like fortunate to be here, like a real blessed, and we are ready, and we are waiting the next step from the Lord. So that's why we are here as well.
Well, you just got finished with a big step and easily preparing you for whatever the next step is to come. But, you, Arthur, how did you find the Lord? Was it when you were young before you moved down to Sao Paulo, or was this something that happened later in life?
Yeah, so I was born in a Christian home at the time. At the time that I was born, my dad and my mom, they both were following the Lord until nowadays. And then when we moved to São Paulo, as time went by, I do remember like going back to my memories, and I remember one Sunday, like back in 1994, I was in the Sunday classes, praying, asking Jesus to go inside my heart, like a kid's praying, go inside my heart, recognizing that he He's my Lord, He's my Savior. So all of the stories and all of the background I was receiving at home, all of that um, information was not information at that point, became reality. So that kind of my pivot moment, and I was 80 years old or so, when I decided to accept Jesus and let Him know that starting that day on until my last day at the earth, He's going to be my Lord. Mm-hmm. So that was during my kid's age. So after 3-4 years, I decided got to be baptized. So that moment, that night was really special too, when I kind to share with my church at that time that yes, indeed, Jesus is my Lord, and as a public announcement of my beliefs and my faith. So that's why, and that's how the faith starting to increase in my life. And after that, I do remember during my teenage years, how many good friends I made that time at the church, and they're still my friends, even though each one of us are in a different part of the earth. So we still get connected, mm-hmm. And it's such a blessing that those years. So yeah, I would stop right now, but we can go over like discussing, and I can share from that teenager years until now. So
yeah. Well, I was gonna say before you go any further, like in America, it seems to be, especially nowadays, having that profession of faith is very difficult to share with others, mm-hmm. because of what the media is unfortunately doing, and it's becoming even more important that we are professing who we are, because kids are being bullied in schools and having to deal with that. Yeah. But knowing the massive cultural differences, and time period differences, was that something that was fairly easy to do back in Brazil and during that time, and not be ridiculed for it? Is that something that could still happen, or are we seeing Brazil starting to turn like the United States and some of the other countries where that profession of faith isn't is large, or the portion of people who is getting much smaller?
Mm-hmm. So I was gonna say it's the same challenge, is the same aspect as well, since this cultural and like this how we are how we can have access easily to whatever we want nowadays, and kids too. So it's a kind of, I would say it's a similar approach. So it's about a step of faith, to be bold and go forward. So it's a kind of it's on this. It's on this. I would say, yeah. So
very similar.
Yeah,
having the same troubles that you would have even here.
Yeah,
in the profession of faith, and still having to walk that out.
Yes. Sometimes we gonna meet people at college, at school, at work, at our neighbor, at our family, that not only will not respect, but will try to lower us down. So it's just about be mindful and be very stick with the Lord, and go from there. Of course, it's not easy. I would say sometimes we have our peaks, our valleys, our comes and goes, but it's about, like we are saying this early, about anxiety to deliver to the Lord, bring to Him our our fears, our things that are constraining us, our concerning us, and let Him guide us. Yeah.
Yeah. So and you wanted to go on as a teenager and having to, tell me a little bit about that.
That's cool. So those years, I would say 12 to 18, like 12 to 17, 12 to 18 years. Like I was saying, my one of my best friends of my life are back from those days. I do remember doing a lot of things with them during the school days or during the vacation period as well. Things related to the church or things related just to having fun, but was kind to see, looking back, we were like all together sharing the same aspects of life, seeking the same Lord. So that's why I can see the God is supporting each one of us in a different way, but He's on us for sure. So those days, I do remember like acting as a staff at the church. The church that I was going those days during the vacation period, that's July month, used to do like big plays, and that involved the majority of the church, not only the plays itself, but behind the scenes, the music, the light, etc. And a part of the church also went to the streets, like to marketing, to sharing with all the populations, our neighbors, that, oh, come and see, there is a play that is going on at the church. So I do remember plays like The Life of Joseph. We went over since he was a kid until his full life at Egypt, and how God was faithful with him and with his family as well. And plays about the last days on earth, like the Revelation says, things like that. Close to those years, I was also touching base with the kids ministry. So I was figuring out. I was wondering what would be the best spot that God would like to me to go over and help out the church. So was pretty fast, like 6 months or so, and then I moved. So when I was 18 to 19 years, I moved. I went to another city, so I left my parents, and I moved to begin the graduation, to begin the college studies. So in this new city, I was there alone. In the beginning, was scary. I do remember like reading the words, talking to God about that, but there is a verse that I still remember until nowadays, that says that in Psalms 25:12 that whenever we fear the Lord, He's going to lead us in the way we should walk, we should go. He will show us the path, as long as we are fear Him. So that was the kind of key for me, that all those my anxiety, all my fears, I was getting rid of all of this, and just making that decision to fear God. So that was, yes, I was a believer since like a lot of since long time ago, but I do remember that day, that night was another pivot moment for my life, because during the college we starting get older and we get some maturity, and after that college it's like a real life, and we understand and have to make a lot of decisions during those years in such a way to get prepared to the real life as per se. So was a tremendous moment. Those years, like those 5.5 years there, I remember that is believers union that go over the colleges and universities there, that is not related to any church, but it's only like a believer union, and was good to get connected with them, because at the same moment, at the same place that I was spending almost all my day there, besides work, besides learning new things, developing new skills, I was also sharing my faith with them as well, going to see places with them, and with all of these connections, I was involved. I could be connected to a program in another church, in a church there in that city, that is every Friday. Part of the church, I was gonna say like 5 or 6 members, were preparing food, and after that we arrived, get those foods, filled a van, a car, and go to the end of the city to deliver this food to people that will need. And it's not like a homeless based, but it's people that already have like a home and this kind of place to be, but very they are very poor or very
fell on hard times, just need that assistance.
Yes. And then was good because going over like week after week, we kind of see their progress in terms of healthy needs, or in terms of addiction, or in terms of sometimes one of the son or daughter of those people were struggling with something. We kind of shared the word with them, pray over them, and doing the follow-up, we could see their life changing for a better spot. So this was during the college year. When I got the graduation, I moved in, and I was living in that city for about 10 years before I get here. So in that city, as a husband, I kind to see my life changing again, and because at that point were only my wife and myself, but we were discussing that moment that in the future, in the near future, if God permit, they gonna give us kids to raise. So it's a kind of building our relationship as a husband and wife, and as a family leader. So another pivot moment for myself, that moment. And speaking about serving God, during those 10 years, I get back to my old call out and starting working with the kids. So was tremendous. So that's kind of a mixture between my life and how I was doing at the church or serving with other members too.
Yeah, and it's just interesting to know, like, you have been a believer and following as early as you can remember, and each point of the way, you talk about your pivot moments, and each point of the way that no matter what, you're relying back on that Psalms 25, where you can either follow the path that he has for you, or you can kind of take up that anxiety that the enemy is trying to give you and fall into that. And each time you just picked up your cross and you said, okay, what were the struggles with that? Each time that you needed to pick up your cross and deal with the anxiety and and let it go and just follow the Lord, like what was there any troubles that came from that in the way of just like additional attacks from the enemy?
It's just about keep my mindset still, not a particular thing or any kind of outstanding topic, but for anyone that is listening us or watching us, it's just about getting our mindset still. What I'm trying to say is I'm struggling sometimes with today is February 26th. What about February 27? I don't know. God knows. But for me, it's just enough 26. So it's a kind of back and forth, trying to imagine the future and eventually lose some opportunities to be different or to choose or to make things right today. Some kind of this internal struggling. So at that time, for instance, that moment, I was feeling alone in that distant city and kind of in the middle of college. That time, at least for me, I need to do some. I need to make some decisions regarding like here we got like the majors and minors. I kind of make some decisions about the minors. What kind of narrowing down my bachelor's? What would be the field of study? Kind of, I should go north, should go east or south. This kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's a really good piece because as a great way to put that into practice, because even Jesus says like, hey, do I not feed and clothe the birds of the sky? How much more important are you than the bird?
Yeah.
And to know, like, take away the anxieties, and if we're not focusing on today, we're focusing on the thing that happened yesterday on the 25th, or focus too far ahead on the 27th.
Yeah.
How is it that we can be fully present to like do what he's asking us to do?
Yes. So, and for this subject, this is what my wife and I, it's constantly talking each other as a family with our kids as well. It's just about get to know Lord by reading His words, by talking about Him, and also asking Him how to make the right decisions, asking Him for His wisdom. And our tomorrow is gonna be the consequence of our today. So it's just about this, getting to know Lord as much as we can every day, every single day, and then asking Him His wisdom to make the right decisions, and go from there. That's the way I'm working with myself, and ask Him to help me out.
Yeah, and so now, talked about college and you getting married, and now being in America and having kids. That's something that I got married back in 2020, and so that's a discussion that my wife and I are having. And I've got friends who are having kids, and they're all toddlers, and so you've got young kids that are growing up. And what is it like to lead not only your wife but your kids? You touched on it a little bit, and try to instill something in them piece by piece. But what is it like to actually lead and work them through the life of Christ and come to that decision of a hopefully a proclamation of faith?
Yes. So going back, I want to say when I got my daughter at my hand at the first time, I still remember like yesterday. That was amazing. It's a kind of feeling that it's impossible to describe. And 1 year and 8 months after, Daniel came to us and was like, I was saying to God that time, how such a love can raise inside us. It's something unbelievable. It's something like very tremendous, something from God as well. So this kind of discovering, get to know the love that we didn't know prior, like a second prior. That's the thing. As soon while they are growing up, it's I was gonna say funny. It's not funny, but I'm going to use that word because sometimes whenever they have any kind of reaction to any kind of push or reaction to any kind of hard feeling they are having, and let's say that it's a bad reaction, it's a natural thing, it's a thing that it's a human being thing. Two things. First, this is we get to know that this is not bad. I should talk to them, but also, and it's very frequent that during that moment, I could remember when I was a kid, at their age, I did the exactly same thing. And I say, so there's a kind of repetition and a kind of, because now I know that this is a bad thing. Two things. I have to rush and I have to engage them, like you said, to point towards the words, towards the God, and explain them why this or that is the wrong or bad decision, but also getting back to my previous days, said, I did this to my dad, I did this to my mom. So whenever we have kids, I heard this and I believe this. We know how to be a son or a daughter. If it's so, at that moment, I could recognize that. Hey, dad. Hey, mom. You were right. So that's the thing. So it's tremendous. It's very good. It's very good. So, and again, it's just about showing God, like Jesus, like the words say, like John's, like Jesus, come and see, like the words say, come and see. So it's just about showing them how God looks like in our condition, in our limitations, right? And asking them, engage them, provoking them to respond in a right way. And when I say right as a light of the word.
Right. And there's always that fine line of when you're teaching, right? Because it's teaching your children about following Jesus can very much mimic the way of like actual education. At some point, the children are going to have to learn on their own. You can't force feed them the information the whole time. As a parent and trying to teach them how to follow, and like you said, a lot of times it's going to be you following Jesus and them watching you follow, right? Just as the disciples watched Jesus follow the Father, it's going to be much the same for us as men in the family. And where is it that you may draw that line in kind of handing them the answers?
So,
and allowing them to like make the mistakes on their own.
Yes. So it's about, again, learning from the words. So we can see, and the beauty of words as well, it's about Jesus, it's about God, but the human beings, it's the background. We see the first man and first woman until the Jesus age, or a little bit over during the disciples age, during the missionaries. So a kind of mistakes and challenges, and sometimes they got it, sometimes they don't. It's just about showing them and asking, following their routine, following their moment at school or at home or at the grocery store, whatever we are trying to remember. Do you think this is right? Do you think Jesus wants this for us? What do you think? So the way we think is push them, like in terms of asking them, what do you think? Do you think this is right? Do you think this is what words say or not? And kind of let them get to the conclusions of their own mistakes,
right,
or their own success as well. Yeah.
And you're also, so I mean, you talked a lot about your missionary work back home in Brazil, and now being here, you're doing. I know you've got a mission here at OPCC. What is that, and what are you helping people reach out to?
Yeah. So this is a new thing, and I'm very excited for this upcoming days, the upcoming month. So late last year, that was this call out from God. And when I was getting here, I was thinking, okay, we are going to there, but spiritually thinking, that is something as well to be done there. And when God called me out for this ministry late last year, I kind of connected the dots in thinking that I was having 1 year, 2 years prior. So now our goal is to get people more in depth with these topics and show them and navigate how missions look like in our daily routine. So it's not a rocket science. It's not of something extraordinary. It's just about sharing our faith and sharing our believers with non-believers. Why? Because we love them, and we know that God also loves them, and the same way we are blessed, we like it to other people get blessed too, to be again with the Lord. So that's all about. So our goal is to having frequent meetings to go and talk about this, how it looks like sharing the gospel in this circumstance, in that circumstance, and let the Lord do the job. So that's the way.
So just training people to go out in their normal daily lives and share the gospel in whatever way the Lord is calling them to, and just kind of training up those individuals in how to follow and mimic as Jesus and the disciples did that as well.
Yes, that's the one of the last words that Jesus said when he was here at the earth, to all believers, go and share. So we are doing that because God has reached us. We also would like to reach that God also reaches our loved ones. So that's all about it.
The Great Commission.
Yes.
There's no greater commission given to us. Go therefore, make disciples, baptizing all peoples of all nations.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude, that's good and heavy. And I've got a plethora of more questions and want to deep dive. And so I hope we can do that again. But it has been an honor and a joy to get to know a little bit about you and kind of the cultural differences and just seeing what the Lord has for you and your family as he's planted you here in a completely different place here in the middle of the United States.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
thank you.
If you have any questions or you feel called to reach a community or even join Arthur in his mission of going out and creating men and women for Christ, we ask you to reach out. You can reach our one of our pastoral members here, Grant at overlandpark.cc. We'll be happy to get you connected. Thank you for listening. Have a blessed day.